Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Fratello Talks. I'm your host Nacho, and today I'm joined by
Thomas
and
RJ.
And we're going to be talking about some watches that are often overlooked, but that we feel are actually potentially quite good. Maybe they don't deserve to be overlooked, and maybe some of these actually do deserve to be overlooked. But we'll find out. We'll find out.
From big brands.
From big brands, of course. Yeah. Cool. But before we get into those, let's do a little bit of a wrist check. I feel like you guys don't change it up much. I'm looking at two watches here that I see at just about every week. But let's do it anyway. RJ, what's on your wrist?
Wearing my Speedmaster in Moonshine Gold.
Fair enough. It's a good watch. Thomas, and you?
Well, let me keep it equally short. I'm wearing my VPC Type 37HW.
Very nice. I'm wearing a watch that hasn't been on my wrist for quite some time, but it's a 1974 Omega Genève with a TV dial. Back from service after quite some time of not being worn, and
on a Fixoflex.
On a Fixoflex,
wow.
It's a real life Fixoflex. So that's
and when you bought it, was there still pieces of gunk between them from the former debt?
No, it was surprisingly clean. I did give it like a proper clean out, but hey, maybe we can take it off and throw it in the ultrasonic cleaner.
Yeah,
and
let's do that.
See if we can clone the previous owner.
Turn some water brown.
Exactly.
Fixoflex coming back, right?
I'm trying my best.
I'm
trying my best to bring it back.
I think isn't Tom van Weilik from from
Erin
and Le Bois
and Co.
And Co. Isn't he bringing Fixoflex back?
Oh, really?
I think so.
I hope I'm not
There was also a Vertex.
breaking any news here.
There was
now you did.
a 36 millimeter Vertex that was also on a bit of a Fixoflex, like expanding bracelet.
Fixoflex.
Yeah, bring back the Fixoflex. That's a topic for another day.
Yeah.
Let's look at some overlooked watches.
Yes.
Should we start with you, RJ?
Yes, let me open the big book.
Yes.
Okay, I have a few. Let's start with the Omega. That's the watch I'm wearing.
Okay.
I think the Globemaster is overlooked.
Globemaster, yeah, true.
Introduced in 2015. It was the first watch that they did that was master chronometer certified by Metas, and based on some vintage or influenced by some vintage Omegas. It has a pipe and dial. There's a fluted bezel, like you also saw. Well, Rolex has fluted, but Omega also used some fluted bezels in the far past, and I have one. I think it's a really cool watch. It's easy to wear, good movement, really good movement, and you see them. You don't see them around that much, and I think it has to do with the wrong or not enough marketing in the past. Because 2015 Omega did a lot because it was the year of Spectre, James Bond.
Right, right.
So they had of course a Seamaster or two commemorating that. They had white dial Snoopy. Mm-hmm. So the focus was much more on James Bond and the Snoopy watch,
of course,
than on the Globemaster. And it also didn't help that they only delivered them like almost a year later, because master chronometer was new and it took a while to get everything going. Yeah, and then I think you miss a moment or something. You miss the momentum for the introduction. Yeah. But I like to watch. Later on, they did a 41 millimeter version with an annual calendar. It was a bit of a busy dial, I would say. So.
Yeah, interesting.
Is there sort of a hero model, like the one to get?
Yeah, the one I have.
Yeah, of course.
It's 39 millimeter, right?
No, but there isn't like the iconic version. Or right?
I mean, no, not really. The 39 I think is nicest. Yeah. I really dislike the bracelet. I think it just doesn't look good. It's much nicer on a strap. And even I saw it on Instagram somewhere. Someone put it on a NATO strap. It actually looks quite good with a wide dial. But yeah, I have the full gold version, rose gold, but I really also like the two-tone. Steel and gold. It has the gold bezel and the gold crown.
Right.
Steel case, blue dial, super nice.
Yeah.
And you can, not cheap, but if you look on Chrono24 or something, then you can get them for a very nice price. Yeah,
but definitely overlooked. I mean, it's one you hardly see on people's wrists, but it's also a great watch. And I mean, it's I think a worthy one for this list. Yeah. Cool. Thomas, what's your first
I think this might be on your list as well. We just discussed it a little bit, but Jaeger-LeCoultre is of course known for Reverso.
Yeah,
as almost a bit of a one-trick bony sometimes. I think.
Well, this year,
Probably,
Watches and Wonders, it was very much everything Reverso, right?
But I think a watch that's definitely overlooked is the Polaris.
Oh.
Polaris.
It is a
Caught
Monday.
me off guard there.
It's a Monday
in my
morning.
face.
It's a Monday morning, and you can tell who's had their coffee.
Yeah.
Not me.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And news.
I think I did a historic overview of that model a little while back on Fratello, and had a chance to play around with a bunch of different versions. And they're just really, really great watches. They're very well made, obviously, but they're also this really nice blend of being sports watch and also still quite elegant and just very handsome looking watches.
Yep.
And they're expensive, of course, but they don't ever get talked about, I think. And
Only on Christian Hagen's Instagram account.
yeah.
That's where I see it.
Shout out Christian Hagen.
Yeah, he probably never gave it back.
Right. I think within the JLC brand there are some overlooked things, including the I think the Master Ultra Thin. I really enjoy the Master Ultra Thin. That's not part of my picks, but yeah, that and the Polaris. It's true that those they kind of there's some of these brands where it's like
Undeserved.
You said.
Because I think both the Polaris and the Ultra Thin are really cool.
Yeah, but they kind of live in the shadow of the main sort of to use the overused word, the icon, right?
Yeah.
The sort of the signature watch from a specific brand. And I think that, like you said, with the Omega, when you have the James Bond Seamaster and a Snoopy Speedmaster. Right, taking up the spotlight, then of course a brand new model is always going to have some trouble gaining traction, and then sort of becoming, unfortunately, overlooked. Especially since they haven't iterated much with that one. So,
Actually, I think if James Bond had to switch brands and models, I think a Polaris would suit him well.
yeah, true. Yeah, it has a bit of a weird high tech kind of with the 2 crowns, even 3 crowns. There's a model that I think even has more than 3
And
crowns.
set off a lot of bombs.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a
crowns,
lot
for
of.
sure.
This is the laser
Q
button.
can have a ton
This
of
is
fun
the
with it.
buzzsaw button. Exactly. Yeah.
But they will not
Oh,
switch.
that was the self-destruct button.
No, they would never switch. But
No.
anyway,
Of course.
Okay.
Cool.
And you?
Yeah, my first pick. I could also go Omega, but I'm going to go Panerai, actually, and I'm going to go with the Panerai Submersible PAM 01590.
it's not.
Can you
physically
describe
overlooked.
Yes, this is a Panerai. It's a 42 millimeter Panerai, which I think could be 44.
Yeah.
It's 42. Go 44. But what I like
47.
about these is that they have a dive bezel, right? So this is the dive bezel, unidirectional dive bezel model with a wide dial and a small seconds at 9 o'clock. So yeah, I think that's quite a good one. You don't see a lot of Panerai out and about in the streets these days. And although I like... no, true. Yeah, I bumped into someone just last week who was wearing a huge, I think a 44 to 46 millimeter GMT. It was
I wonder where they all went,
thing.
because there was a point here in the Netherlands, at least, you saw them quite a bit.
Yeah. I believe the Dutch government used them to build a seawall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they're keeping us safe.
Yeah.
Took all the Panerais that people didn't want and just built a giant
Delta
seawall.
works.
yeah, exactly.
No, but I never warmed up to the submersible back in the day when I owned a Panerai, early 2000s. But if I had to buy one today, I think it would be a submersible. I think it's a really cool.
They are,
design.
they're really nice, and I think having that dive bezel kind of brings that functionality, the dive functionality, to a Panerai that otherwise today it feels like less of a dive watch, even though it is a dive watch. When you don't have the bezel, it kind of feels like
You don't know how long you can stay in the water.
Well,
a
exactly,
Panerai.
exactly.
Marina.
No, but it
Tons
is
of dead divers on the bottom of
wearing
lakes and
Panerai.
seas.
Oh, that's where they went.
Panerais. Yeah, that's probably where they went.
They also no, but I do think that line in particular is somewhat overlooked, and I quite enjoy it. And I think it's a brand that in general these days feels a little bit overlooked, but specifically that model is one that I enjoy, and I don't think it gets talked about enough. So.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. RJ, what's your second?
Ooh, IWC, and then either the Mark series, or the Pilot chronograph. And I believe that again in the far past, these watches were talked about so often. Yeah. You either went for a IWC Pilot chronograph or a Speedmaster, and you could buy a Mark 15 at the time, and then but now we are at 20, I guess.
Yeah, Mark 20. Mark 20. Yeah.
There's less talk. and you don't see them that often anymore on the streets, I would say.
True.
And it's also a little bit undeserved. I think it's a classic design, both.
Yeah.
And
I had a month where I heard nothing but IWC Mark 20, and I think you experienced the same thing. It was back when Morgan was still in the office, and he
I was going to say,
he had a very intense obsession with one, and I was sitting across from him.
But it did not happen.
No, he ended up with an Aquaterra.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that or the Aquaterra, and he ended with the
Every
Aquaterra.
morning I walked in the office and was like, "Hey man, come here, come have a look at these."
Wasn't he looking at a wide dial one?
Yeah, it was the white
yeah.
dial one, and we had them in for review as well. And I think I have to say they're quite in their simplicity. They're pretty good
Quite nice.
watches. I'm a fan. I think I would probably if I wanted to go for a Mark series, I would
Mark
go
12.
a little bit older, go for a Mark 12. But to be honest, the current version, it's relatively slim.
Yeah.
I think it's 40 millimeters, so it's a little bit bigger than the 38 of the older models, but it's still a good option. And to be honest, I would rather have that than any of those new ceramic or whatever it is, those colorful
The Lex
ceramic models, the ones that Lex really enjoys and appreciates.
They lost me a little bit at
Lex.
some point when they did a big date apertures where you could see 3 days or dates.
Oh, that's weird.
I think, but I think they changed.
It's just
it.
one generation, I think.
Yeah, there was one generation. Yeah. And I also think they did. I think it was a Mark series with the Saab Vegan
Oh, okay.
that they had a limited edition. Also wide dial, I think.
Does IWC
sure.
have a dive watch in their catalog these days?
It's Aqua Timer, right?
Yeah, but I don't think. Do they have it? Is it in the catalog? Does it exist still, or is it?
I guess so. But I think it's one that they have not updated in quite a while.
That's been overlooked. I think maybe
Because recent years was all Ingenieurs and some
Yeah,
pilots.
yeah.
But Portofino perhaps
have they
as well.
forgotten that they have that?
I think they forgot it.
we should
forgot
mention
about
that.
it.
Next
Send them
time.
an email.
Next
Send
time.
them an email.
Yeah.
Or
No,
fax.
but that's
You know how it works, man, in Switzerland.
send a fax
No.
exactly. An email to Berlin and a fax to Zurich.
Yeah.
Perfect. Nice. So Thomas, what is your second pick?
I'm going to stick with IWC.
Okay.
This is a watch that I reviewed a while back and that I really, really liked, but it turned out to be very divisive. I was the only one in the office that liked it.
Okay.
It's the IWC Big Pilot, but in 43 millimeters.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So they've shrunk it a little bit, but to me, like spot on. It's now still an oversized watch, but it's a lot more wearable.
Yeah.
On a slightly smaller wrist.
But you can't wear it
Oversized.
over your Luftwaffe jacket now.
No, but luckily I don't really wear that, so it's
You don't?
I don't.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Not even on the weekend. No.
With high heels.
No, it's true that it's oversized within reason.
Yeah.
It's manageably oversized.
Yeah, and according to I think it was Lex back then sitting next to me, he was completely appalled by it because it was no longer a big pilot.
Yeah, true.
And I get that from a purist perspective, but
Baby
it's,
big pilot.
but it was just so great on the wrist. And
Yeah.
I never hear anyone talk about it. I'd never seen one in the wild. It's as if it was never released.
Kleine Flieger.
Kleine Flieger. Kleine große Flieger.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's also a good pick there. Nice. My second pick, I'm going to go back to Omega, and I'm going to talk about the Seamaster 300. Because
not the M.
it's no, not the
Not
M,
the M.
not the M. When you take away the M, you get this very nice sort of vintage callback to the original from 1957.
And which one?
Whichever one it
The
is
trilogy
that,
one?
that
Or
our British contributor author Benjamin Hodges has. Ben Hodges, he has one, and it's really good. It's the I don't think it's the trilogy one. It's the one that's
It's
still,
the regular one, the regular 300.
the regular one.
With the lollipop
I
hand,
think
right?
that's a really nice watch, and not a lot of people talk about it. There's a couple guys I follow on Instagram that also post it from time to time, and every time I see it, I think, that's.
Do they do a non-faux patina version of that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
With a malachite dial in a gold case.
Okay, but without that,
No.
but I think before there might have been one. Before there might have been one.
No, there
a
was
non-RJ version.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
isn't
no,
faux
I think
patina?
that was the issue when it was introduced quite a few years ago. I remember that our colleague Gerard, he commented that you actually had to buy the titanium one and switch the hand of the steel one, or vice versa, to have like a proper version that
no
you're
patina
you're
one.
talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's but
it's a cool watch.
I think it's great with the straight lugs, and I think it doesn't have any crown guard, so it feels very old school. But at the same time, it's just a modern diver from Omega that looks
inspired
absolutely
by
great. Yeah,
an old Seamaster 300.
I think it has
very
a
nice.
sandwich style as well. It's
I think
kind of like recessed lume markers. It's a great looking watch.
Yeah,
and
it's not a flat thing like that we just saw with the Real Master.
No,
it has some
exactly.
depth to it.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah. So that's my my pick.
Cool watch.
What else have you got for us, RJ?
Something Rolex.
Oh,
And it's difficult to say
there's overlooked Rolexes.
an overlooked Rolex. I would say, because perhaps we can also pick a little bit of vintage stuff. OysterQuartz.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool. I had one, and they were made between 1977, which was a really good year, until 2003. So quite a long stint, I would say.
Yeah.
And you have the Datejust version and the Day-Date version, and I think both are super cool. Doesn't matter which execution, basically. I like them a lot. But also, there's a slash. I have a slash in my book. Cellini from the previous generation, so pre-1908.
Okay.
I think those Cellinis from the 2010s, I think they're really cool and often overlooked. And I recently saw one for sale on some Dutch watch forum. And I was kind of in shock by the price. I think it's a good value for money even.
Yeah.
So is it what
nice
Barack Obama wore?
No idea.
I think so. Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
I know that our king wears a Day-Date in platinum. Yeah. It's more important than the press.
Nice. Yeah. Before we get too political here, Thomas, what is your third? What is your third pick?
My third pick made a bit of a weird move, I guess, because it used to be quite hyped on Instagram, and then it's a Tudor, and then Tudor leaned into it and started making tons of variations, and now I don't hear a thing about it anymore. So it's a bit.
I think I know where you're going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Black Bay 36.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And now it's
now
called Black Bay 1.
Yeah. Now it's called the Black Bay 1.
I saw that. It's now the
not
Black
with
Bay
a
1.
number,
but
it's written 1.
When it was the very basic sort of it's weird.
Odd. Yeah.
When it was just a very basic sort of affordable Explorer alternative, I think it was really quite a bit of a fan favorite.
Yeah, definitely.
My dad and I bought one for my mom, actually, and she wears it a lot.
Black or blue?
Black. It was before the blue came out.
Yeah.
And now there's tons of variations on different bracelets, different sizes.
Sunburst
and
dials.
I mean, that's probably why it's no longer called Black Bay 36, because you can now get them in 28 sizes.
That's it. Yeah.
And but I feel it's no longer talked about anywhere.
No.
I don't know if it's maybe become a bit too expensive.
Or do you think there's too much variation that people just stop talking about it?
Yeah, it could be.
Maybe the whole.
It's kind of the thing I said about the Globemaster. There isn't a sort of cornerstone version and that anymore. Maybe that's
Yeah.
It was always sort of like the
I think it was the wrong marketing push for that. If you push one specific version all the time, I think that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
But
once you start offering this whole smorgasbord of different sizes with diamonds, without diamonds, and everything, it kind of gets a bit lost.
Yeah.
But I think that there are still some versions of that are quite good, to be honest. Like you still have it in 36. I think the bigger size is then, is it 41? It's 36 and 41 or 30. It's not 39. The Ranger is what comes in at 39.
Was it already with the Kinesi movement, or was it with ETA still?
They started with ETA and then
Smiley dial
switch.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, that's a nice one. I also have a Tudor, but I will skip that for now in favor of a Zenith, and I'm going to talk about the Defy Revival Diver, which is was introduced last year, Watches and Wonders, and it's basically that sort of vintage, very accurate vintage reissue, very orange, very bright orange, and I think that's a really great one, and I feel that it got talked about a little bit during Watches and Wonders, and maybe there's like a bit of an in crowd that appreciates it, but to be honest, for the most part, it's very quiet and you don't hear much about it. And I was shocked that this year's Zenith, or not shocked, but maybe surprised that they didn't do anything similar to that at Watches and Wonders. They didn't introduce something that was more heritage based, because they had done a Defy the year before. And then I guess the
135 is very vintage based, but blue is their year, I guess. So everything was done in blue.
But the last 2 years there had been like a Defy revival kind of thing. So there was this titanium version that they did, I believe 2 years ago, and then that was followed by the Diver, which was I think it's still a great watch. It's still in their catalog. And Zenith is a brand that came up when we did our podcast on underrated brands. And I think that there's a few things in their catalog that could certainly fall under the overlooked category. But yeah, that's my pick. Anything else?
Yes.
RJ?
I have 2 more.
Okay.
How many have you more?
I have just one. One left.
Okay, then I'll also do one.
Cool.
I have from Tag Heuer,
Yes.
but a Heuer. Heuer Daytona. I really like that watch.
Okay.
It's a vintage. It's 70s, and it's a integrated bracelet. And I know that a lot of people are more or less tired of them. But this is like an original integrated bracelet from the 70s, and a bit of a vignette dial. Sorry, Thomas. But I believe there are only 2 dial variations there. But super cool watch. Crown on the left, pushes on the right. It's caliber 11 or 12.
Oh yeah.
No, I didn't look it up, but one of the 2. And when I just started collecting watches, I always went to this trade show in Germany, in Düsseldorf, and you could pick them up for like $600-700.
Wow!
But now, a good one is over 3K. But it's I think it's a really nice watch. It's
but back then,
undervalued.
Back then, Heuer was doing like I think a lot of the Grand Prix watches, right? Like
it
was
everything was exactly.
Montreal, obviously some that remain and that are still well known today. Obviously, Monaco has stuck around,
Monza.
but there were so many of them, right? Monza's a good one. There was like even one for this Spanish circuit, Jarama. Which is just outside of Madrid, and it's kind of a cool one as well. The Heuer Jarama. But it's also really cool. It has there's a version with a fluted bezel in two-tone, and it's they were having fun back then, and only a few of those went on to survive. But they're definitely overlooked insofar as vintage Heuer.
And I don't think they should bring them back, because I think we've seen enough of these re-editions, not only from Tag Heuer, but from like generally speaking. But you can also just cherish what once was, and I think these are really nice pieces that can be found in a very nice condition.
They're out there.
Yeah, they're out there, definitely.
Cool.
Yeah,
nice. And Thomas, what is your final pick?
Another Zenith. The current Pilot line.
Oh, right.
They changed it from the sort of steampunk thing a while back.
The big onion crown.
To the current model with the sort of sleeker case and the fuselage striping on the dial. Whenever I write about them, I always get a ton of negative comments. People seem to really dislike them.
You selected it anyway.
Yeah. I'm barely influenced.
No, but hey, I think that I agree with you, to be honest.
It was a few years ago, right? That they reintroduced
the three-handers.
Yeah, and they've been expanding it a little bit now, the line. But I don't hear anything about it. I don't see them anywhere.
Wasn't that the one they also did it like a rainbow version?
They did a rainbow version of the chronograph.
Nice.
Yeah. It's a good one.
Good pick.
I wonder how they sell if they because
but Zenith has, I think, quite a low production number in the end.
I think so.
It's a well-known brand name. It falls under the LVMH flag, but I think still it's not niche, but kind of a niche. I would say. Yeah.
What do you think does best for Zenith? I think probably Defy, like the Defy integrated bracelet,
or Chronomaster,
or Chronomaster. There's the Chronomaster Sport that has a bit of the. It has a bit of a hint
Don't
of.
say it.
I won't say it. We all know.
Heuer made one, but it looks different.
Exactly. Let's not go there. No, but that's true. I can imagine that also sells well. But it is a good pick. My final one is the. I don't know if it's overlooked. I don't know if it's underrated, but it's the Tudor P01.
Oh yeah,
it's both. I think.
Yeah, and it looks nice on a rubber strap.
Yes, definitely.
I saw a fellow collector, Bill Sohn, wearing one a while ago. It's really a nice watch.
I think if you're into that, like the nerdy side of stuff, as we are, that's just, it's so cool that they did that they brought that back. And I get that it doesn't, like, for the wider market, for like that it doesn't have to do that well, but it also doesn't have to. It's
like a Pro-Prof.
Exactly.
Yeah. People were a bit offended when it came out, right?
Yeah, it was a bit of a.
But people are easily offended, huh?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, very much so.
Looking at the candle, which
Yes.
is sponsored by Breguet.
Yes.
Well, not really. I had to pay 40 euros on import duties when
That's
it
how
came.
it goes these days, man.
Yeah. But anyway, what do you think of the new Tradition?
Oh yeah, the new one in a smaller size with the
38 millimeter with the
guilloche enamel
with the
dial?
new guilloche pattern.
Yeah.
And some name in French referring to the Seine motif in Paris. In blue
Fleuve.
with blue Grand Feu.
Yeah.
You like it?
I like the size. I think going back to that size or going to that size is really great. The enamel is a bit bright for me. It's a little shouty, but I mean it's an old gold watch, but it's really impressive. I mean it kind of feels like Breguet is really packing everything that they're really good at into just one watch, and it seems like a great part of the celebration this year. So
which one did you like better, the Souscription that came out in April, or this one, the Tradition?
I think the Souscription. I think that was it's a great look for it. The fact that it's just one hand, and there's some details in there like in the central pinion. It has this sort of squared off shape that is supposed to be a callback to the original pocket watch that you had to wind by putting a key onto it. There's little details like that, plus some of the font and patterns on the minute tracker just incredibly made, and I think that's just like a crazy watch, but very very Breguet, and quite understated in that sense.
I like what they're doing so far this year with two watches.
Yeah, definitely. Breguet is really becoming a brand to watch, and one that has been often
I think
overlooked.
So.
So cool, nice. I think
Do you have a
that's
specific overlooked model in mind, or
From Breguet?
Yeah.
What I really like is the Breguet Empire from many moons ago.
I can't even picture that.
Yeah, looks a bit like a
I'll
classic,
Google
but
it after.
more classic.
Cool. Nice. It's a good name as well.
Yeah.
Nice. So speaking of getting offended, let's go on to our
the commands.
comment of the week. This comes from Sir Schlez8562, who says, buy first some good and nice shoes before you can talk about Omega watches.
I saw that comment and I thought, man, what are people looking at? And
buy first some good and nice shoes, man.
yeah,
Then you can talk about
I
watches.
will buy some others. But
you got good and nice shoes on today. I'm wearing the same
I
ones
think there
that
was
I wore.
some sneaker. He was offended by sneakers, I think.
Oh, come on. You can wear sneakers.
I
and
remember,
watches.
but I
what are
think
you doing
it's
on
not a hot
YouTube
take.
when you get offended by sneakers?
I think I told this before, but once I had this many years ago. I had this Lange one time zone. Is that the model name? Yeah, time zone in platinum. I had it for review.
Yeah.
And I think I took a picture while wearing sneakers. And I did a wrist shot. And you saw the sneakers I'm wearing. And I got so many messages. Oh, you can't wear sneakers with a Lange one.
Why not?
Man.
People should get a job.
Anyway, I just
Yeah,
I thought that was quite a funny thing.
Next time we'll all wear our Crocs.
Yeah, we'll all be wearing
Barefoot.
Louboutin heels next week. No, but that's it. So perfect.
great comment.
Those are our
thank you.
great comment. Thank you. We'll work on our shoe game. But meanwhile, leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Let us know some overlooked watches that you appreciate, and of course, tune in next week for another episode of Fratello Talks. See you then.